training started to take a different path. Okay, and now whenever I get someone who wants to train with me, they'll come up to me, and usually they have some experience from another martial art, and they hear about me, and then they come up to me and they go, hey, I hear you know this, and I want to train. The first thing I do is I want to make sure that they really want to learn, and they, in other words, they don't want to teach me. In other words, they're not ready. I got to make sure that they're ready to empty their cup. Okay? So, do they really want to learn, or are they trying to teach me something? Right? So that's the first thing. Right? And how I do this, and how I make sure that I make sure that they understand the direction I want to take them, the goal. I give them one challenge. I say, okay, stand there, stand up, stand there. Don't move your hands, don't move your feet. I don't want you to move your body at all, right? And I want you to be able to show me martial arts. Okay? That is my first lesson, right? So they usually stand there and they go, I've never had anyone answer it right, okay, or be able to do it initially, right? So they stand there and they go, well, what are you talking about? How do I show you martial arts if I can't move my body? And that's when I tell them, look, if you can't stand there and honestly express yourself, which is the goal of martial arts, okay? If you can't stand there and show me, if you can't stand there and express yourself honestly, not moving, how in the world do you think you can do it moving? Moving is 100 times harder, right? So that's my first lesson for them, and then they understand the goal that I'm setting for them, the direction that I'm taking them. Okay? And then you're probably wondering, well, how do you do it? How do you stand there and honestly express yourself, right? And that's a really good question. But it's all about focusing on the quality of the movement and not the quantity. Okay? That's why I'm always telling you, focus on the movement, not on technique. Technique is endless. It's pointless, right? But you study movement. Movement is universal. It can be anything. One movement can be anything. And I'll share with you a story that Hawkins Chung told me not too long ago. And he said, okay, back in the day when he was studying, right? Him, Bruce Lee, Gary Lamb, all those guys, right? They were much younger, and they were studying with Yip Man. He was, they would all go to the school, and Hawkins would come in, and he'd go, well, where's the old man? They call him the old man, right? And they go, where's the old man? Where's the old man? And everyone would point like this. Okay? And that meant that Yip Man was on the roof. Okay? So Hawkins would go up there. He'd go up there and he'd see Yip Man doing Selam Tao, right? But he was in a Tan Sao position. Okay? And he's just standing there. Right? And he'd look, and then, okay, all right, he's all right. So he'd go back downstairs. And then they would train. They train. And then 45 minutes later, Hawkins go, where's the old man? He's still up there. They thought, he'd go, what, would the old man die? Right? Right? Because they were worried about him, right? Hawkins thought he may have died on the roof. So he'd run up there, check up on him, and when he got up there, this is 45 minutes later, okay? He'd run up there, he'd look out, and he'd see Yip Man in the same position with his hand out in a tan style position, right? He hadn't moved. And you have to think about that for a minute, right? Do you realize how perfect your structure has to be able to hold that tan position without moving for 45 minutes, right? That's amazing. I mean, you cannot use any muscle at all. That's 100%. You have to rely on structure because you can't do it. Your muscles, even if you use a little bit of muscle, it would give out. You wouldn't be able to do it, right? So that's what I'm talking about, okay? And that's why I'm always telling you guys, practice only as fast as you can maintain perfect form, right? And if that means you got to go snail pace, then you go snail pace, right? That way you develop quality in your movement and not just a bunch of quantity, right? Right? So when you're training, think about those. Think about that concept, right? Of focusing and developing quality in your movement, right? And when you're doing your seal and tau form, and you know, how slow can you do it? How slow can you go to maintain that perfect structure, maintain that perfect movement? So I just wanted to share that with you today, and I'm off to work, and I'll talk to you soon.